Hey, what's up guys, welcome to my first YouTube video ever, and in today's video I'll be breaking down all the steps of my editing workflow, like from the beginning to the end. We'll be walking through like the basic adjustments, retouching, color grading and finalizations. So if you have no further questions, let's jump right into it. First thing, when it comes to under exposure picture like this, the first thing that you want to do, you want to bring back your exposure. So right now we can get some detail in the background right here, and you can see now we bring back some detail in the background. And the second thing that you have to do, look at those shadow area that you under export in the shot. So you want to bring it back by increase the shadow. And as you can see, just two steps, like you bring back the exposure and shadow. Right now your image is come to life. And then the third thing that I like to do is I will reduce the highlight a little bit, because if you look at this area, we lose like some nice bokeh over there, and if you just turn down the highlight a little bit, you're gonna get that really nice bokeh in the background. Okay, and now let's come to the white balance. If you look at the image, you're gonna see that there are some pink like too much, so I want to add some green a little bit, so it's going to compensate those pink in the image. And then if you look at her skin tone right here, you're gonna see that it just look too yellow, so we want to add some blue. Alright, so around something like this, it looks nice to me. With just like 4 steps, the exposure, shadow, highlight and tint, temperature, and right now your image it just become like a lot better. And let's see before and after. See, it was so dark, like have no detail, like nothing. When you see the image in the raw file, you might gonna be like, oh my god, I want to throw this away. But if you just like know some trick and technique in the Lightroom, you can bring it back to normal like this. On to the next step, it's going to be retouching. And the reason that I changed the image, because the last one, as you can see that there is not much like her face there. I mean, you cannot see any retouching step over there, so that is why I have to change to the image. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to create your own action in retouching. Like I have my own action over here, like frequency separation, local dots and burns, and global dots and burn. The reason that you want to create your own action, because it's going to make your workflow become a lot of faster. So it's gonna help your life become a lot of easier. Alright, so when it comes to retouching, the first thing that you have to do is you have to understand that you are not going to remove anything on her face. I mean, like her texture and like the integrity of her face, you are not going to remove that. And as you can see, when I just turn on my frequency separation, I just reduce those shadow and highlight area that is inconsistent on the model face. I am not like removing any texture or anything from her face. Alright, so now move on to the next step. It's going to be local dots and burn. In the local dots and burn, we are going to completely like flatten those inconsistent tones. If you look carefully, let me show you again, like before and after. You see, I just remove all those shadow and her hairline over here that it just doesn't fit to the image, So we just want to reduce those things, but I am not removing any texture on her face. Alright, so move on to the next thing. It's going to be global dots and burn. So now we are going to add some depth of field to the model face. In this shot, I just slightly adding some like depth of field on her face, not anything crazy. Let's see before and after. So in this skin color correction, I just reduced those magenta on her face that it just doesn't look natural. And as you can see again, I am not removing any texture on her face. Alright, and the last thing that I do in my retouching step is going to be eye enhancement. what I did mainly in the eyes enhancement, it just going to like enhance those highlight that is already presented in her eyes, and then I just enhance those highlight more to make her eye more pop up right here, and you can see before and after. Alright, and these are all the steps of my retouching. Let me group all of them and see before and after. This is before and this is after. Alright, so move on to the next thing is one of the favorite parts of my editing, and that is color grading. So the first thing that I always do is my color grading. I will start with my skin tone model. I love to use selective color to do that. So let's see. This is before and after. It's kind of slightly changed here, but that also that's my goal all the time when I do editing. I love to slightly change on the image, not do something like so crazy change, but just a bit of change. But when you just like on top those layers again and again and again and again, that's going to make a huge change in the image. Alright, move on to the next thing. It's going to be the background color. As you can see, I have so many background color steps, like background color 1, background color 2, background color 3, because because just one step sometimes it doesn't enough to completely change the whole color of your background. So that's why you have to like layer up. So the first thing that I use a selective color. Let's see some of my property right here. Start with the red channel, shift the slant to the left, so we add some kind of redness to the background area right here, and then add some yellow to make this thing more pop up. And then of course the next channel is going to be like slant. So you see it just give more slant to the background right here and make the image look that's kind of blue that I love. And then reduce the magenta to add some green and add some yellow to make add some warm tone too. In the background color too, I guess what I did is I just like reduce some the shadow point right here to make the mono pop, and you see I add up that highlight point to get like basically I just trying to get that edge curve, so you're going to make like the model pop up when you reduce the shadow down, and then you pop up the highlight. That's going to make your model pop in the image. And let's see in RGB, I just lift up the red a little bit. I think I just go to right here, and by the way I use this hand tool to just pop the red color in the background. This hand tool is really cool because wherever that you point right here, it's going to show on the curve that what are the point that you are at right now. As you can see right now, I'm at some kind of shadow point, and if I just want to lift up the red in the shadow, I just come to this point and just lift up a little bit. See, it's going to pop up this area right here. Also I do the same in the blue one. I go to like in the blue area right here, and then just lift up a little bit, something like that. Alright, now move on to the next one. It's going to be selective color again. I just do the same step, like just try to enhance those lines and red in the background. Alright, so move on to the next thing. It's going to be subject separation. I use a channel mixer to doing that. So basically I just I just add like the warm tone to the foreground and add the some sort of cool tone to the background. By doing this, it's just going to help you to pop like your model up out of the foreground, like as you can see right here. See before and after. So yeah, like when you enhance that cool tone in the background and you add some sort of warm tone to the foreground, that's going to help the image like more pop up. I mean that's going to help like your model like separate it from the background by just using colors. And then the next thing that I do is I just change the color of her head right here, because I feel like this some sort of cyan color, it just feel in like better than that's the original color. I use a solid color to do that. You can just mask it and then just playing around with the color according to what you want. So I choose this cyan because I feel like it's kind of blend everything together really nice. Alright, move on to the next step. This step is nothing crazy. I just enhancing this outfit right here, to make like the red more pop right here, because I feel like it's look better. Before that, her outfit color is kind of like boring, so I just give some sort of red to make the image look more vibrant. And then this one, it's just like brightening, her face a bit more, and like add some contrast to the background. So again, this is going to help like the model like pop up from the background. And in this step, it's just going to be like the eye enhancement. If I zoom in right here, you will see that I just make some like that eye pop right here by using curve, like nothing crazy. You can use curve with the layer mask and then just like paint the white on her eyes only. And then this one, I'm just adjusting the color of the hat a little bit, because sometimes I just feel like that's the current color is just not that fit enough, so I kind of change this by like using selective color right here. And alright, I think we kind of done in the color grading step, so I'm gonna group them. Now let's move on to my finalization step. The first thing that I do here, I just do a bit of cleanup like to this area, because I feel like it's kind of look better with the cleaning look. And this is going to be my final tone. I use like a camera filter. Basically I just go to a camera raw, and I think I just add a bit of like vibrance right here, and playing around with the collaboration, like with the blue primary and with the green primary. Of course this one is already edited, so I will not do anything, but I just give you the idea like how I did in my final tone. Alright, and this step I just add some sort of blur to the background, and of course as you can see I use the layer mask like to mask her face out, so she will not get any sort of blur. So yeah, so the reason that I add some blur, because I feel like it's just going to get like the attention to the model like more better, so that's why I add some blur a little bit to the background. And in this step I just like correct her hand right here, because if you see that before her hair is kind of too bright and too red, so I use the hue saturation to fix that. I just reduce a bit of the saturations and like a bit of the brightness, and then I just playing around with the hue, so I just add some sort of cyan to reduce that kind of redness on her hand. So the last step is going to be sharpening. Firstly, before doing sharpening, you have to merge like all the layer from down right here, and create another layer on top, so you can use the high pass to do that. So how to do that? You can just hold Shift Control Alt E, and then you see it's going to like merge all the layer from down here and create another layer on top. And then you go to filter and other and high pass, then you can just click OK, and then I will change the blend mode to overlay, and then I will create a new layer right here, and of course invert the layer mask. And then you can use brush like, and then I just paint on her eye mostly right here, and then on her skin tone and on her lips and some other parts I will just reduce the opacity a little bit to make it not look like so sharp, because I just want her eye pop, not every area. And yeah, we kind of done it, but I feel like it's kind of too much, so I will just reduce the opacity a little bit to something like this. Okay, so yeah, I think we kind of done, so let's group them together and rename it to like Finalization. Okay, so we kind of done editing on the image. Let's group all of them and see before the after real quick. Let's see before and after. And that's it for today's video, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and hit that like button if you got something out of this video, subscribe if you aren't already, message if you are so desire. And thank you so much for watching this video, and I appreciate every one of you, and see you next video guys.